this trip is for any of the music ensembles, choir, band, and orchestra. I have 2 pens in my pocket. There's a little story. There's a story about everything. Showtime Productions is now 12 years old. I love the colors red and black. I just do. I always loved it. So my company started with red and black. And then right on the side it says, let's go. Red and black. What does that tell you? What does red say?
Stop.
Not go.
Stop.
Our shirts are not red, are they? No. I had to change. In 12 years, I've learned a lot. Now, some of you I recognize, a lot of you I don't. And that's just fine, because you'll learn a lot about Showtime Productions, you'll learn about our staff, you'll learn about our trip. This is a great informational meeting. Nobody can register tonight, but there'll be a lot of people ready to register. Probably open house next September will be the first time that you will be able to register, and we'll probably explode the website. I don't know. These are 2 staff people. This is Laura. She's going to come up and say hi. At least she'll just come up anyways. Laura is the person who does all of the website work and a lot of things behind the scene that you know, if you get an email from her, it's usually good news, like you just won $100 lottery or something, I don't know. But she is very, very helpful and very good. And then we have Barbara, sometimes known as Babs. She does a lot of administrative work. If you get an email from everybody, it's probably coming from her. And Barb Pearson is just a really, really fun person, especially when you see her email address, which I won't tell you about, but it's very interesting, and you'll definitely know it's her. But anyway, this is Babs.
Hi.
So I'm Steve Olson, and yes, Olson is the same as that Olson. We've been married 36 years, 35, a long time. She keeps telling me it's a long time. And I am a retired high school choir director. My last 10 years was at Garden City and loved it, had a lovely program. We started going to New York City with that school, and when we started in New York, the kids needed to go the cheapest way possible. So we would leave about dinner time on Friday night with the bus. We drive all night. We found a large McDonald's in Jersey. We'd get there about 6 o'clock in the morning. The kids would change out of their pajamas. We would spend the full day on Saturday in New York City. About midnight, we'd get back on the bus and come all the way home. We never stayed in a hotel. 1 full day, jam-packed in New York City. Cheapest way I could do it. We did a lot of stuff. We always saw a show. It was great. Took us 3 days to get over it, but it was a great experience. Then we started going and spending the night, which is great. I found a wonderful place. It's been underneath renovations. I still know the managers because she's a good friend of mine. We're not staying there. We're staying next door, which is just fine. But we stay in Jersey. We stay overnight. In fact, this trip we're staying 2 nights. Count them, 1, 2. Really nice situation. We stay in North Bergen, and if you know where that is, it is almost spitting distance from the Lincoln Tunnel. Lincoln Tunnel goes right into Manhattan. It's just great. I've driven it many times, but that's the way we go. You can spend easily 90 minutes getting into the city, depending on where you're staying. And you can save $20 or $30 on a hotel further out, or going to Connecticut. Come right on in. But we stay just outside of Lincoln Tunnel, and we just go right in. It works great. I will tell you that I've done this trip a bunch of times. I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 25. And I've learned a lot. I was in New York City this July, prepping for this trip. Spent 4 days there, because as you can imagine, a lot of things have changed. One of the most incredible restaurants that I have used closed, just closed. So I've had to do a couple of different things. I did secure another hotel that I've used before, and they're fine, they're great, they've changed management. It's just, you know, a lot of things have changed. If you've heard anything about New York City, you know that things are different. They're trying to come back. There's a lot of good things that are happening, but they're still struggling. Broadway is trying to open. After COVID, Aladdin opened for one show and closed the next night. In fact, the audience was seated, and they came out and said, "I'm sorry, we have cast members who have just developed this virus, and you will all get refunds." So just incredible amount of up and down and up and down. We're going to have all up, I promise. Showtime's Productions is 12 years old. We travel a lot of different cities. I travel with a lot of different groups, churches, and different high schools. We go international. In fact, the meeting we just had here, we've got a group going to Ireland in August, and there's still room if you're interested in going to Ireland. I was there for a week over Easter break, and I got to tell you, Ireland is a beautiful place. And we do some really cool stuff. And we stay in some neat hotels. Just saying. Oh, since I'm in advertising, we're also going to Italy next year. And the year after that, 2024, spring break, we'll be back in London and Paris. That's an incredible group. Done that trip like 3 times, keeping the same itinerary. From the Bloody Tower to seeing a show in the West End, to the Louvre, to Eiffel Tower at night. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. Do I sound like a salesman? Yeah. Sorry, I guess I am. If you're just coming in, I have some sheets here I'd love for you to fill out. It just gives me your email. It's not sold to anybody. And Babs will give you a sheet if you want, if you need a pen or something. I would love to get your information just so we can keep you abreast with our email addresses. So New York City, this is open to Franklin, band, choir, and orchestra. And there is no real difference between the two. Yes, Mrs. Olson is the one who asked me to put this trip again. We did this in 2019, had a fantastic trip. Some things are the same, a lot of things are different. And in a minute, I'm going to give you a sheet of information, which is jam-packed on one side of a piece of paper. In fact, Mrs. Olson said, "That's just too much information." Well, it's just the way it is. You need a lot of information. You want to know where you're staying, you want to know a basic idea of itinerary, you want to know what's being covered. By the way, I am retired. This is not my full-time job, so I'm not making a mint doing this. I really love traveling. I do have to cover administrative costs, and my GoDaddy costs, you would not believe how much they are. Laura's smiling. Just to keep this company running just costs a lot of money. So, just know that there's a little margin of profit, but not much. You're welcome to go to New York City anytime you want, and you come back and show me your bills, and you'd be surprised at the prices I'm getting for you, for things we're doing. It's really good. Including my contact who works at Madison Square Garden, who gets us our Rockette tickets. Did you realize we're going to see the Rockettes? The new Christmas show? Yeah. It's pretty cool. I've been to Radio City since I was 16 years old. We were living in Paterson, New Jersey. My 16th birthday, my mom and dad brought me to see the Rockettes. They were showing movies that time. Guess what the new movie was? What's Up, Doc? Barbra Streisand. Yeah, that dates me a little bit. That was the big deal. Oh, 16th birthday, go to see the Rockettes. Anyways. So we are looking at probably 92 to 94 students. We will be really selective on our chaperones. Not every adult who wants to go can go. We will probably have 1 or 2 teachers, Mrs. Olson, maybe Mrs. Quackenbush. I don't think Mrs. Cook is coming. She went on our 2019 trip. I have not got confirmation one or another, and I'll be there. We'll have 1 or 2 of our staff members with us. We have buses out of Brownstown. They work, and we've got the movies in them and the Wi-Fi, and you can plug in for your charging your phone, all that kind of stuff. Most everybody has them anyways. We will be going very early on a Monday morning, and we'll be back very, very late on a Wednesday night. This is before Thanksgiving, 21, 22, 23. The school has been very accommodating as far as us going and teachers understanding that when we go to New York, it's really cool. all the kids are responsible for their schoolwork. I mean, there's no like extra whatever, but you know ahead of time, and it's good. The company I work with for payment is We Travel. You get that through the website, and I'll show you all that in a minute. But if you want to put on a credit card or write a check, I mean, we can do whatever you need to do. It's good. But, as I said a few minutes ago, we will not be registering for this trip until, what's it called?
Open house.
Open house. Open house next September. So when you are open house, we will probably have a meeting that night, and we will talk to the people who want to go, and probably like by, I don't know, 9 o'clock, the website will be open for registering. It'll be like a flurry of activity. Because, we like to keep it to 2 buses. And we usually have had full buses and like a waiting list. Don't really like working refunds, because once I pay for, things for you, pay for your ticket to see a show, they don't give me a refund. So we try and find somebody to take your place if need be. Let's see, what can I cover? I'm sure you're going to have a flurry of questions, and then I'm going to hand this out and go over it. Now, I know you can read, but I'm still going to go over it with you. And then you can take this and pass this around, and you can look at it and salivate over it and just look forward to it. I'm curious, are you here just because you're interested, or are you here because you're definitely going to New York? You're definitely going to New York? Yeah. We have always traditionally taken a picture on the red stairs in Times Square, and that's very cool. That's very cool. We are going to Hard Rock this time, right in Times Square, which is a really cool place to eat. And of course, you can buy some neat t-shirts too, whatever. So I'm just wondering by the way, I am having this video because there'll be a link on the website for the people who can't see the meeting tonight, and they will be able to see this and have all the information. And then if you forget something during the summer, then you can go back and refresh your memory. It's not like I like being on TV, it's just that it really does help for some people who couldn't be here. And they're certainly, able to whatever. So yeah, thanks, Babs. Get all these people coming in. Whoa, that's good. Are you guys orchestra people?
They're band.
Band. Wow, excellent. That's great.
So it's
If it came to it that we needed to go into a 3rd bus, we would need to fill the bus. You can imagine if we put a 56-seater, if we put, 45, 50 people in, that's one thing. But if you put 5 people in a bus, they still have to pay that whole bus. So if we go more than like 92 students, we need like about 140, 150, something like that. So that's why we'll do our waiting list. We try and do it really equally. 3 buses is a lot, but it's okay. And New York City, after Thanksgiving, is nuts. I don't know how many times you've been to the city in December, but I only have one group that goes in December, and I like roll my eyes every time they ask. But it's just so many people. Now, by the time we are there in before Thanksgiving, they will have the tree up. It may not be decorated, but the tree will be up in Rockefeller Center. They should have all the windows in 5th Avenue decorated for the Christmas time, which is really cool because you just window shop. It's really very, very, very cool. And oftentimes the weather is not too bad. It's not like we get a snowstorm. We've been in New York City in the pouring rain for 3 days. We've been there during snow. And interestingly enough, do you know what they do with the snow in New York City when they plow? Now some of you are pretty savvy. New York City is a crowded place, right? What do they do with all the snow? They get a lot of snow sometimes. Anybody have any idea? They what? They dump it where? They dump it in the river. It has to be transported to the river. There's no place to put it in the city. It's just crazy. Hi there, come on in. We started, but you are not late. How'd the concert go? I feel really weird talking on the mic here. One of the ladies and the lady in the green shirt can help you. Don't we have some more sheets hanging around? Babs, do we have any more sheets? There's like 6 or 7. Okay, for those people coming in, I haven't really said anything important yet, and this also will be a link on the website. So, Should I take any questions before I hand out this sheet? Or should I just hand out the sheet? Just hand out the sheet? So everybody knows this is a band, orchestra, choir trip, right? We will not have room for every parent to go with every child. You know, we usually do like a 1 to 12 ratio. And of course teachers can come if they would like. We give them the option. If you would like to do your own trip, I do trips of 8 or 10 or 12. We get an enterprise van and I'll take you wherever you want to go. I did one and I was like playing taxi cab for a family. It was really kind of cool. I know the city pretty well. Except when you get up in Harlem. That's a whole other thing. Cool place, good food. Apollo Theater. But, and then Queens is really kind of crazy. But, you can go to the Bronx, you can go down to Coney Island. Of course, there's not much swimming in December, but, you know, anyway. Okay, Laura, help me pass these out. These are all the same, and you're going to read them all really quickly, and then I'm going to go over them, okay? So here we go. It's got a lot of information on it. And if you lose one, I'll always have more. Hi, come on right in. And there are stacks of chairs. You're welcome to put them down and you can sit down. I was sorry to miss the orchestra concert tonight because we had some other people talking about Ireland. But concerts are good here. And don't you like that new Performing Arts Center? We are blessed after living with, well actually this was it. This was the old auditorium in this area. Come on right in. You guys can do that later if you want. Really. Come on in and just find a seat or find someplace.
There's seats over here. There's chairs in the back if you want to set up more chairs.
This is exciting.
And I'll go open windows.
All right.
Just got called.
Love to see people dress up for these meetings. Oh, wait a minute. You had a concert after that. Come right on in. We'll take care of that later. It's okay.
Chairs over here. You can come all the way down through. Chairs over in this area.
Where's another chair?
Everybody got a sheet? No. Nope. Well, here. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you.
We made 100. If we need to make some more, thank you very much. Appreciate your help. Okay, yeah. They come in. Sure.
There's chairs back here.
There's chairs in the back. One of the reasons I started Showtime Productions was because the last trip that I used another company, and I won't tell you who that was, my students had the back 2 rows on the upper mezzanine. Worst seats in the house. Also, on the itinerary I was given was one time, and when I looked at my tickets, it was another time. We had to go about 5 or 6 blocks to see Hairspray, and we got in just as they finished Good Morning Baltimore. I was not happy. And I said, I can do better. And we have. When you go to see shows, you're going to get some of the best seats in the house. Because I know a person. All right. So welcome to the people who just come in. If you didn't get a sheet, there's a sheet of paper which I'm going to go through very slowly because I was told it's a lot of information on here. Also, if you can sign in, that'd be great. It just gives us your email, and then we will send you some information about different things from time to time. You can always delete it. Believe me, I don't sell it or give it to anybody else, but we just keep it for internal. We have 2 people helping tonight. This is Barbara or Babs? Babs is a wonderful administrative assistant. She's just a really nice person, but very helpful. And this is Laura. She does all of the website work, and so you can always email her or ask her about things, and she's a lot smarter than I am. By the way, I'm Mr. Olson, and yes, that is my lovely wife, Mrs. Olson, who's the choir director here. And she's the one who asked for this trip again, and then we decided not to do it just for choir, but to choir, orchestra, and band. We did this trip in 2019, and Mrs. Gupta and Teresa, what was her last name? Chirhall. The orchestra teacher. They came both with us and had a wonderful trip. So we have not traveled to New York since 2019. Some things we're going to do the same, some things are different. Now on this sheet, there's a lot of information, and I got to tell you, I was in New York in July, and in helping to set up this trip and making some contacts and securing the hotel. There may be some things that change. I'm hoping not, but I will tell you one thing. I have never had a group have a tour of Madison Square Garden. I'm talking about going down on the floor and going into the locker rooms and being at the top. It's an incredible place. It depends on the hockey and the basketball schedule. If they have a basketball shoot around, we can't go in the building. But if it's open, we're going to be there. So they don't post that schedule until like the 1st of September, so I can't tell you, but I am really hoping that we're going to get in Madison Square Garden. It's great. The guy that does a lot of the sales for Madison Square Garden and also for Radio City is a good friend. And he's going to try and get us in there, which is pretty cool. Whoa. That's kind of cool. Was this 2019?
Yes.
Yep.
All right, that was our group.
It's Times Square.
That's Times Square. These are the red steps of which you will hear about many times, and I'm sure you've seen them in Times Square. This is probably about 11:30 at night. It looks like daylight. It's just incredible. And we will have time in Times Square during the day and also, of course, at night. At night is so cool. This is one of the iconic places. This is like Piccadilly Circus in London. This is like some places in Tokyo. But Times Square is just so cool. And yes, this is this was the crew neck sweatshirt that we had. All of you going will get a crew neck sweatshirt, custom made for us, and they're not cheap, but they're very nice. So we will have our own sweatshirt that you can wear. They're very comfy, whether you're on the bus or whether you're outside. This was not raining. We have done this picture in the pouring rain before. Rain, snow, shine, doesn't matter. We will be there and we will go and we will all smile. But that's kind of a nice picture, Miss Olson. Very pretty lady down here.
Aww.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Daylight's burning.
All right. So I'm going to go slow. And anytime you need to leave is fine. Anytime you want to stay is fine. This is being recorded because there are some people who are not here. My website is www.letsgoshowtime.com. It's on the bottom. And this will be posted on there. So in case you forgot something or you came in late or you just want to see this because in August you forgot half of the things we talked about, you can go back and look at it. But this sheet, everybody got a sheet of information? Okay, great. So who? Approximately 92 students. We try and bring as many kids as possible. I can't promise that all the adults would like to go unless we go into a third bus. I've already booked the buses. They already have a deposit on them. We're ready to go. Probably 1 or 2 teachers, one of our staff members, and myself. So we generally will go with about 102 people. That's what I booked every place for. So if we go to a third bus, if we have 30 or 40 more people, then we will see if we can do that. And by looking at all of your faces, you're all like, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. Yeah, okay. When? Monday, November 21, we leave, that's not me, we leave at 5 a.m. I don't care what time you get here, but we must pull out at 5. Oh, by the way, we have 2 rules in Showtime. 2 rules. Boy, you got quiet. There's only 2 rules. Number 1 rule, be on time. Doesn't matter what's going on, it's a respect to everybody else. But if we say the buses are leaving at 5 o'clock, it means you're in your seat, your luggage is loaded at 10:05, and we're ready to go. Does that make sense? Internationally, it really has made a lot of difference. And students have been better, even over the adults. Always be on time. Second rule, be nice. I put that in print. Be nice. Doesn't matter what's happening. Just be on time, be nice. That covers most of everything. Only 2 rules in my company. All right? Cool. By the way, some of you want to know what showtime is. Is it misspelled? S-H-O-W? No. S-H-O are my initials, actually. And everybody gets it wrong one time. And then once they get it right, then they never forget it. But that's Showtime Productions, right? Okay, so we're leaving Monday. We will be home late Wednesday, and it just depends on when we leave the city. I truly don't know. It could be midnight, it could be 1 a.m., and it really depends on several different things. But you can't hold me to time of what time we're going to get back to the school. Whatever time we leave the city, basically it's 12 hours. It's 10 hours driving. We usually book in about 2 hours for stops and things like that. We're actually going to pick up a couple of bump drivers, so we may have to go another 15 minutes. But so that's what we're doing. We're staying at Days Hotel. It is not Days Inn. It's a Wyndham property. So it's Days Hotel in Bergen. We go through the Lincoln Tunnel and we go to Manhattan. That's the way we go, in case you're interested. Why? Because New York is a cool place. I don't care how many times I've been there, I still love it. And sometimes I just go because I find someplace different. One time I went, I just wanted to go to Central Park by myself. I just went walking. Found a Whole Foods for lunch. It was cool. Right off Columbus Circle. Here's a brief itinerary. Now again, I hesitate to give it to you because some of you are like, you said that 3 months ago, whatever, okay? Some shows are dark on Monday, some shows are dark on Tuesday, some shows are dark on other times. So putting this together this year has been a little bit interesting. We are going to go all the way down to Jersey. We will have pizza. Frank's Pizza is a local place. It's New York style pizza, it's really good. So we will eat at the hotel, we will change, you get your room, then we go into the city to see Phantom. Phantom right now is using no less than 3 Christines. They are all drop dead gorgeous and incredible. Now Christine, you know, is the heroine on Phantom of the Opera, right? I've seen Phantom a bunch of times. I still love the show. It's just great. It's just incredible. So it doesn't matter which Christine is playing, but we're going to do that first thing. We may, depending on the drivers who are friends of mine, we may just take a little detour around the city and maybe come through Times Square. You can only go one way through Times Square because most of it is walking, pedestrian. But it's kind of fun just to drive in the bus first night, so we'll see how that goes. By the way, you can sleep on the bus. I don't give you a lot of time to sleep in the hotel. Just let you know, okay? So in the morning, hopefully we're going to Madison Square Garden. That's the idea. We will have breakfast in the hotel. This hotel, like many hotels in New York, has only grab-and-go breakfasts. When you get a white bag, you know, when you go, we're getting a dining room. We'll have continental breakfast all for us, just for our group. Everybody should go, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. That's really nice, Mr. Olson. That's really great. Otherwise, you get a bag and, you know, a bagel and whatever. Okay. So we're good on that. We will be doing the Rockefeller Center observation deck, top of the rock. This is where Saturday Night Live is recorded. If we had more time, I'd do that tour. That one's hard to get into for a group. But we will go to the observation deck, and if you want to see what you're going to see, it's right here. So if you take a picture of that, you don't even have to go up. But I bought your ticket already, so. By the way, the ticket's already purchased. That is what you see. It's uber cool. It's really cool. We will also have tours backstage of Radio City Music Hall. Radio City is where they do the Tonys. A lot of shows come in and out of there. Radio City has been famous for many, 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 many years. And it's kind of important because that night, we're going to see the show. But you're going to go backstage on the tour. They do them, we will probably do 4 groups. And it's a little hard to get into. It's already secured. So we're good. We'll probably take groups of 25. And then, so we come off from the observation deck and we'll come down. We literally walk across Rockefeller and then we'll right over there onto 6th Avenue, which is Avenue of the Americas. So we'll split you up in groups. You'll know where you are. There is some walking because the buses, it takes longer for the bus to go from one place than you to walk. If you're anywhere familiar with the city, you know, it's much easier to walk you know, from like 5th Avenue to 6th Avenue, or 6th Avenue over to 7th Avenue, you know, Broadway up 2 or 4 blocks, whatever. So, you know, sometimes I can use the buses, sometimes it doesn't even make sense. And there is no parking. Well, there are 4 places. There are 4 spots. I mean, 4 parking spots for 4 buses on one street that I know of. Otherwise, they have to keep circling the whole time. They have to drive. You can't stop. Okay, so then we're going to Hard Rock. Oh yeah, Hard Rock for dinner, which is really cool. And yes, there's enough time if you want to go and buy a sweatshirt or a t-shirt. It's pretty cool. I have a couple Hard Rock shirts. Hard Rock New York, Hard Rock London. It's really cool. Anyway, so you will have enough time to get from there over to the Christmas show, the Rockette show. There are thousands of people. It's not that far to walk from the bottom of Times Square back over to Radio City, and you'll know where it is. We always go in groups, you know, so whether you're a group of, you know, students or whatever, I'm sure somebody's going to ask me about security. The last time I was there in July, I took pictures just walking from about 48th Street down to 42nd, 41st Street. I think I had pictures of like 10 different groups of police just standing there. Really nice people. And I always just come up and I say, can I just take a picture for my students at home? Sure, fine, move on. There's a lot of security, a lot of police. Some are not in uniform. There's always a possibility of something happening, but we have been very fortunate over the years. Riding the subways, I mean, I feel safe, you know. So if we're going as a group, or if you're working, you just don't go anywhere by yourself, you know, pretty much. But when we're walking from one venue to another, it's not a problem. I'll have maps for you. You'll know where you're going. There's enough time. You're not going to be late. So all that's good. So we see the Rockette show. The Rockettes is also the Christmas show. It ends up with the big nativity thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or you've seen it before. It's very traditional. They'll have the dancing Santas. There's like 100 Santas. I shouldn't say how many there are. It's pretty cool. It's pretty, and of course it's a huge stage, and you're going to see the backstage, so you're going to see a lot of the things that are going to happen for the show that night. We also have very, very good seats in the first mezzanine, not downstairs, not upstairs, right in the best place. So really excited about that. If you just came in, you should know that I think tickets are really important, and where you sit and what you see. Your Phantom tickets, those are not secured yet. They haven't even started doing things for the fall yet. But my booker has already assured me of our seats, so we're good. So it's good. You're not getting worse seats in the house. Believe me, I promise. Okay, so we go back to the hotel and sleep for a little bit. In the morning, we go to Staten Island Ferry. Staten Island Ferry is a whole story in itself. We will go down to Whitehall at the bottom end of Manhattan, and we take the ferry literally right by the Statue of Liberty. Some of the best pictures you're ever going to get are right there for you. We don't stop at the statue. We don't go to Ellis Island, but we go right over to Staten Island. You can get something to eat there. They have great ice cream. They have all kinds of snacks and things like that. And then you basically turn around and come right back. You can make it an hour. We always allot 90 minutes. So you take the ferry over. It's kind of cool. You've seen the big orange ferries, haven't you? Are you kidding? Oh, wow. See how they're wearing their sweatshirts? I mean, it really is a good thing to do. Now, of course, you may want to buy one, you know, fire department in New York or things like that. But, oh, that's cool. Mia. Terrell. He was a freshman. He was a ninth grader.
Yes, he's a freshman.
Wow.
And Abby's, half her face is right behind Terrell, kind of in Emily's armpit. There's Abby.
Abby Wade?
She was a freshman, yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah. So that's on the ferry. And we were going by, I don't know what they're drinking.
Various things, and we were talking about vocal health and how you should be drinking, you know, to keep your body hydrated, and I had this picture, so this was just kind of a fun thing, but they have all kinds of stuff. The girl in the front has one.
I think that was really one of the key things, fun. We like to have fun. You don't have to laugh at my jokes, but we do like to have fun. We do like to, respect each other, but we do have a good time. So anyways, we will go to Staten Island Ferry, come back. We go to the 9/11 Memorial. The museum is closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. We cannot go to the museum. The museum is where you need to spend a whole day. So I would suggest if you go back to New York City to go to the museum, it is closed and it's a staffing thing, which you can understand. I mean, we have a hard time staffing our McDonald's sometimes. So we will be at the memorial, which is cool, and you can go over to St. Paul's Church, and of course the World Trade Center, which is the big building. It looks like skeleton, the big white skeleton. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, it's very cool. It's all right there. And pretty much when we're done with that, depending on time, we'll either head back over to Jersey, or if there's enough time, we might go up to Central Park. I always like bringing people up on the west side of Central Park because you have strawberry fields forever. Great place for a picture. It really is. And it's like an 8-foot circle, and that's all it is, but it's kind of iconic in New York City. So if we have time, we would do that. You have to double park, and I have to be careful because tickets in New York City are very expensive. And so we have to be careful of that. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, some of that is a little fluid. And then we'll come back. And then depending on what time we leave the cities, and depending on what time we'll get back to school. We will, if you just came in early, we are not going to register people until open house in September. And then there'll be a flurry of people. And we'll see just how many will go through. If you've left me your email address, Babs will put that in our master list, and then we will get some information as it goes. For instance, if Madison Square Garden gets secured, I will let everybody know. I'll be very happy about that. How many have been in Madison Square Garden? It's a cool place, isn't it? Yeah, can you imagine being a tour where it's just us? It's pretty neat. Okay. We will be doing payments through WeTravel on my website. It's a very secure company that I use. It costs me a little bit, but it's worth it because I don't run around with my credit card, clicker. And people who are doing fundraising, that can also work through the school. We do that fine. I know that the choir's already done one fundraiser, for kids looking forward to for next year. Okay, and also, if you paid up by the second date, which is in October, we'll put your names in the hat and somebody gets a $50 bill, which is always just kind of fun, so you can go to Hard Rock and buy a nice sweatshirt or, There are a lot of gift shops around the city and around Times Square, mostly owned by one company. So it doesn't matter where you go, you'll find pretty much the same stuff, same price, but it's, you can buy your cool stuff. I always do. Okay, that's a lot of talking. Can I open it for questions? Yes?
It says that Emerson students may be able to go too.
Well, if we have 65 kids, and we have our chaperone, and we really want to fill the bus, Mrs. Olson does the choir over Emerson, and we may open it up to Emerson kids, some 8th graders, if they're nice.
So it'll be, if Emerson, if you're in 8th grade this year and you're going to be in the choir, band, or orchestra next year at Franklin, then you can go on this trip. So 8th graders have been invited if they're going to be in band, choir, or orchestra next year at Franklin. So it'll be a Franklin trip. We won't have anybody that's a present student at Emerson on the trip.
Yes?
Are there dress code concerns for the Broadway show?
That's a really good question. It's very relaxed for the Broadway shows. They even have allowed backpacks in the last couple of trips. They will look through them, but they've been relaxed. No, there's no real dress code. I will say when we go to see the Rockettes, sometimes people like to dress up. I would not suggest girls in 3 or 4 inch heels, although I've had that. I had one girl, do you remember? She had heels all day because she wanted to dress, and she was dressed to the nines. But no, it's pretty relaxed dress code.
So we'll probably wear our crew necks on the bus that first day on Monday, and then we're going to see Phantom that night. And so we could just wear our crew necks. That would be perfectly acceptable. And then the next night we would dress up a little bit and wear something a little different for the Rockettes to go to Radio City.
It's always good to have a backpack or something. You're going to carry, whatever you do, even if you're carrying an umbrella or something like that. Yes.
So you've
have on here 6 adult chaperones. How do you determine the chaperones that are going? Is that a
That's
first
a
term?
really good question. That's a very good question, and I'm,
It'll probably be
Whoever
first
puts
come,
the
first
50 in
served.
the basket.
And according to what? Like the
According to
email
this,
or
to the registration.
through the registration. So if you get on right at, you said what, like 9 o'clock? You get on right at 9 o'clock?
Yep.
You take the first 6.
Yep.
we have people who have traveled with us. In fact, we just got back from Mackinac last night at 10:30. The BCC choir from Franklin here was there for 2 days. Had a great concert, had a great trip. And there were some great chaperones. They're hoping to be on this trip too. I can't answer
So
that.
so the students will fill up and the first 6 chaperones, then we'll have a waiting list. If we don't get to our 92 students, then we'll start taking more chaperones.
Price is the same for adults and students. Yes?
Are all meals included and/or how much extra cash would you recommend they take for spending money?
Really good question. How much money should they take? We often stop at rest areas for like fast food and depending, and you're welcome to brown bag it. Many times I will bring 3 or 4 sandwiches with me and chips and even, bottles of water, things like that. So you're welcome to bring, you don't have to bring any cash. But on lunch,
So Monday night will be covered.
we're covering dinner for,
Breakfast both days and Hard Rock. And so it'll be basically the travel and.
Lunch on Tuesday.
And lunch on Tuesday, so those.
and
would be-
there are some great carts. If you like hot dogs or you like some of the Mediterranean food or a big pretzel, there's a lot of stuff. And they're all registered, they're all licensed, so they're all very good. And again, you can brown bag it if you want. We had a couple that we talked to, they went to Olive Garden, right there in Times Square. Spent a bundle, but they had a good time.
So as far as spending money, parents, I guarantee you, your children will spend every dime you send with them. I have had students go with $50 and that student spent $50. I've had students go with literally $500 and they have spent $500. So that's just up to you. You can give them a limit, kind of talking about budgeting, which is a good life skill. As far as rest area food, you can figure that out. And then whatever you want to, tell them. If they really, really, really want a Phantom shirt that you can only get at Phantom, then you can look up online and see how much that's going to be. And they need to remember to save that money or they will be sad.
Or if you want one of these are like $20
They're
at
20.
Radio City.
And you can get one for, I have the Phantom ones as well. That was just out. I was showing
So
you.
these programs are really cool, but
Yeah.
we're going to some touristy places and they will sell you lots of stuff. So really, depending on what you want to do, it's a good question. Yes?
For hotel accommodation, how many people per room?
Generally, we put 4 students in a room. Generally, we put adults 2 to a room. And it just depends. I've got a number of double queens and then kings, and it just depends on how that works out. But I've got actually more than I think I'll need, and then we'll pare it down as we see. But it would be wonderful if we could have the whole trip locked in by, early October. And then, like I said, we'll see how many we have. If we need to get a 3rd bus, we need to fill it. I can't bring 10 people for a 3rd bus, but if we need to do that, we'll do that. Other questions? It's a lot of information, I know, and right now, we're just kind of getting information out and seeing how many people are interested. I won't say it's a well-oiled machine, but I know what I'm doing, and we have good drivers, we have good hotels, and we want to have just an incredible experience for everybody. So it's a great place to visit, and we'll probably go there again sometime. Yes?
Will there be fundraisers next year?
Yes. There'll be a Little Caesars that'll run in the fall. I'm looking at C's Candy, which is out of California and is really good, and that's an order, not a, you have to sell 500 candy bars. No.
And I'm sure band and orchestra will be doing fundraisers
Yes.
too.
Well, no, these will be like New York City fundraisers. And then we're also going to do frozen pies, which will be like a for Thanksgiving thing. So those are at least 3 that I'll run for specifically people that are going to New York, and it'll be band, choir, orchestra combined. Right, Mr. Quackenbush, you don't mind that?
I don't mind it at all.
He's up for fundraisers, yes.
When necessary.
Especially if they're combined, right? Yes.
Well, I think that probably will conclude our meeting. If you have questions, I'll stay around. You can email me, But thank you for coming, thank you for your interest, and let's go Franklin.